and thank you for coming. Mr. Herbert, I'm waiting for the incumbent.
You can take your seat now, man. Tell him he'll be here today. So, is he going to come or not?
I don't think so. If he does come, he's going to say yes when he ready.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
We got to trick it up. How are you?
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, for the question and answer portion of the form, you would have to write your question on an index card. So if you do believe you have a question for the panel, would you please just raise your hand, Mark will pass out the index card. We're ready to begin. Welcome to the We Are Roaming Warriors, and we're presenting today the Fillmore District candidates for the primary election, and we just welcome you to the We Are Roaming Warriors event. I am standing in today for our original moderator, Carla Thomas, and I am Esther Smothers. I am the new legislative assistant. And if we could please just stand, we'll begin by singing the Black National Anthem. If everyone has an agenda, the lyrics to the Black National Anthem is coming out this afternoon and this evening to get information on the candidates that are running for the Fillmore District. I think without further ado, the next thing we want to do is to bring forth legislator Betty Jean Grant. If she would please come forward and address the audience at this time, right before we introduce the candidates.
As found and written in the words, a community assessment target group, we hold forums, debates, and meetings to inform the community to make sure that constituents and voters are informed. We had a forum about 2 weeks ago with the Mascia candidates, those who are running the Mascia district, and we are holding this for those candidates who are running who will make the ballot in the Fillmore district. As a courtesy, 2 weeks ago, I allowed Mr. Yvette Suarez, who is running the candidate, to address the audience. I'm going to allow Ms. Howard that same courtesy. The candidate made the ballot speak for 15 minutes, and Mr. Howard speak for 5 minutes. All will take questions from the audience. And so, welcome for this forum. As you know, there are only Fillmore, Madison, I think maybe Delaware might have a race. I was talking to a gentleman who got his absentee ballot in the University District. There are 4 candidates on that ballot, and those are family court. There are no city court judge, there are no council member, and universities that has an opponent. So it's going to be a very, very low turnout if we don't create interest. And I think we all should be engaged in civil duty to vote. On that note, I will turn it back to Ms. Carla Thomas, who is the moderator of Women Warriors group, and Ms. Esther Smothers, who will be taking notes from the audience, as well as Ms. Margaret Ward. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Apologize for my tardiness, but I was stuck on the Niagara Falls Bridge, the nervous wreck, trying to get here. So I don't know whether or not the ground rules have been laid, but if they have, I will just quickly review them. And that is, of course, the ladies and men's room is right outside this door. During the course of our information sharing this afternoon or this evening, there will be no rules. If you want to clap at the end of one of the candidates, at the end of one of the candidates' opening statements, you're more than welcome to do that. But what we want to do is to be respectful. This is an opportunity for you to hear from the candidates firsthand. It's an opportunity for you to ask them questions via the system that we have in place about what you want to know as far as what they will do, who they are, where they came from, and what kind of company they're going to be. So without further ado, I also ask that if anyone in the audience has children, if they should need to be comforted, we ask that you not be a distraction, but please comfort your child outside the doors here in the hall. Before I get started, I just want to ask candidate Samuel Herbert, are you going to take your place here?
I'm waiting for the incumbent to come.
I'm sorry?
I'm waiting for the incumbent. That's who I'm running against, David Franczyk.
So if he doesn't come, you will not be participating. You won't be giving the people in this audience an opportunity to ask questions of you.
I'll give them that opportunity, but I won't sit up there.
So without further ado, I want to introduce the candidates that are here and are going to address you this afternoon. First, all the way to my right, we have Mr. Joe Mascia, who is a candidate for Fillmore District, and we also have Mr. David Howard, who is a write-in candidate. And since we just have the two here, did you all decide who was going to go first? There was no straws drawn. Mr. Mascia, you can go first. Okay. If you would just address us from that audience, from that microphone there, we'd be fine. Each candidate will have, how long, let's say? Each candidate will have 15 minutes with which to address the audience, and then we'll hear from the other candidate, and then we'll begin the question and answer period. Mr. Mascia, if you would be so kind.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. And I want to thank, again, Legislator Betty Jean Grant for affording this opportunity for us to come in and let the audience participate in this forum. One thing I've learned in my short career in politics is Betty Jean Grant, one thing about her is that she is a candidate and a legislator that has the people's interest at heart and not her own. And I respect her for that. So I want to thank Betty Jean again and Carla for allowing me this few minutes to speak. I don't plan to take it all 15. Okay. Okay. Do I bring this forward or? Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Okay, you probably know who I am by now. My name is Joe Mascia. I'm a candidate for Democratic candidate for Fillmore District Common Council. I've been happily married to my first wife for almost 50 years. She's still my first wife. I have a beautiful daughter, 2 grandchildren, and I served, close to 50 years in the construction trades. I served as a resident commissioner with public housing for the last 10 years, elected commissioner. Earlier this year, I made a very serious and unfortunate mistake. I used the word that I am ashamed and embarrassed of, in a moment that doesn't represent my true self. I cannot express in words how deeply I regret using the awful language, and I feel horrible. And something I said hurt so many people at home. I hurt my friends when I did that, and I feel sick over it. Every day since the recording was published, I've apologized, and every day I will continue to work hard to regain your trust. Moving forward, I got into politics about 10 years ago when actually what happened, to tell the truth, is what happened. I was in the construction business. I had my own business. I got into a pretty bad car accident on the Youngman Expressway. And from that car accident, my business started to falter a little bit. I had worked for two contractors that actually filed bankruptcy, and when they filed bankruptcy, they owed me close to $500,000. So to make sure my employees were paid, I took out a second mortgage on my house, and unfortunately through those actions, I had lost my house, and I wound up in public housing. With that, I wanted to make sure that my employees were paid. You know, I did not pay taxes, and I'm sorry for that. But I moved my family into Marine Drive. I was fortunate enough to get into Marine Drive. When I got into Marine Drive, I found that housing wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I found a lot of corruption. I found a lot of problems with housing, especially where I lived. Okay, so what I decided to do was run for, and there was an opening for two resident commissioners at the time, so I decided to run for commissioner. And believe me, when I did run, a lot of people say it was, well, about Marine Drive. And, you know, selfishly, I have to admit, it was about where I lived. When I moved in, rumors started that the place was going to be sold, you know, all the work that was going to be done on the waterfront. So I was concerned about not only myself, but the people who live there. So to do something, I thought, well, maybe I should work from the inside out, which I did. So I was lucky enough to be elected resident commissioner, and I served in that capacity for the last 10 years. I didn't do this to make things better for myself, by the way. What I wanted to do was make things better for the people that live in housing. And when I finally got into housing, and I noticed the issues and the problems, it wasn't all contained at where I live at Marine Drive. We have 28 complexes and over 12,000 people. And a lot of the people who live in housing had the same issues that we had at Marine Drive. A lot of quality of life issues, maintenance that wasn't being taken care of. So I became sort of an activist and as an elected official, I feel you have to be an activist for the people you represent. I didn't make many friends at the Housing Authority. For the last 10 years, I've been exposing mismanagement, malfeasance, misconduct, exposed accounting irregularities, outlandish contracting practices, and a terrible lack of transparency. That's why officials at the Housing Authority have taken me to court 5 times, which cost me thousands of dollars out of my own pocket. The thing was that every time they took me to court, you know, I could have said, you know what, I don't want to do this. Why should I do it? What do I need to do it for? But I stayed. And all 5 times the court ruled in my favor. I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere. And I think the issue here is what's happening in the Fillmore District, and that's why I decided to run for the Fillmore Common Council. There are some things that are going to come out, and I think everybody deserves an explanation on what happened, how it happened. I'm sure you've all heard and read in the newspaper. I've been in the newspaper 13 out of 15 times. More times than the guys who escaped from prison. So I feel fortunate now that everybody knows who I am. I've become a familiar face of Buffalo. But back in March, in October of 2014, the common council and the mayor appointed 5 commissioners. The 5 commissioners that were reappointed were the same commissioners that I felt were causing a lot of the issues and problems that we have in housing. I contacted the mayor several times by email, by telephone, trying to alert him of the problems in housing. Well, the 5 commissioners got reappointed. None of them got replaced. So what I did was I filed suit in February against the common council in the city of Buffalo. At that time, back in March, the conversation was taped without my knowledge. The conversation was taped by a person who I had known since he was probably 8 years old, close to 35 years. Someone that you feel comfortable with, you've known all your life, actually lived downstairs from me at my house when I owned the house on the west side. So I was not privileged to the conversation, and naturally I said some things, again, that I feel sorry for.
There's a question and answer period.
So,
Okay, the candidates will not be interrupted, and for those of you that come, you know how I roll. Okay, we're going to be respectful, and we're going to be polite, and we're going to listen, or I'm going to call security, and you'll have some company meetings. So, Mr. Murphy, you want to continue?
yes, please. So at that time in March, it was recorded. The recording was made 8 days after I filed suit against the city. The tape was not released until January. Sorry about that. The tape was not released until July. So they held on to this tape for several months. Just so you know, there's a conspiracy with this, and we are filing a civil conspiracy charge against the gentleman that, I shouldn't call him a gentleman, against the guy who taped me, and the 3 people, and the 3 other people who were involved in this conspiracy. So that'll be in the news shortly. But, you know, outside of that, I decided to run in Fillmore, and my wife was raised in the Fillmore District. She's Polish. She went to school 44, and I've been in that district for a while. I live at Green Drive Apartments, which is part of the district. And I think what we need to realize is that one thing we have is a housing crisis in the city of Buffalo. And being on the Commission with Housing Authority, I know of the housing crisis. It's already started a gentrification and displacement of people in the city of Buffalo. There's large developers that are buying up property that normally would be public housing, privatizing it, and raising rents, limited the access to people who really need housing in the city. That's happening. It's happening right in front of our eyes. Okay, it started in McCarley Gardens and some other places. It's happening at Perry Housing. It's happening right now at Shoreline. It will continue on Shoreline. Eventually it'll be Pine Harbor, which is behind Shoreline. So this is one of the issues that I want to attack. And again, the privatization of public housing. I mean, public housing is, I refer to it as similar to public schools. We need public school. We need public school education. We need public housing. Everybody, and I can be a witness to that, is 1 paycheck away from or 2 paychecks away from living in public housing. And I can be a witness to that, because that's what happened to me. Not that I am sorry, I'm happy it happened. The other thing I want to talk about is public safety. There's a crisis in the city, and more of it in the Fillmore District. Fillmore District has seen an increased number of shootings, increased number of crime. I was at, believe it or not, I was at a South Buffalo Community Center, and a gentleman I was talking to who was 90 years old, had his house broken into South Buffalo 4 times. 2 of the times he was home. And I'm so happy that he was there, and he didn't interrupt the 2 people that broke into his house. 90-year-old man. So, I was on, along with Ms. Hayes here, I was on the Police Reorganization Commission a few years ago to try to talk about changes in the police department and how we need to equip them better to serve the public. And I know we have a police officer here, and I'm sure that I know the police does a great job, the police department does a great job. I think we need to have a little more specialized units to take care of some of the problems we had. One of the things I'm a firm believer is community policing. I don't think we have enough community police officers that deal directly with the residents on a day-to-day basis. In fact, I was instrumental in working with people at the Perry Project, Perry Housing Development, I hate to call it project, Perry Housing Development, when they had a stop and frisk against residents that were living there. Young men were getting stopped, frisked, and arrested. None of the arrests lasted. 350 arrests were made in 1 year. People who lived, who were visiting family or who lived at Perry Housing Development. So the police department had a stop, frisk, and arrest policy that they were using at Perry. And what we did was we brought in the Public Defender's Office and the ACLU to investigate. In fact, one of the young men was actually assaulted, and he's seeking a lawsuit right now. One of the other things is, you know, we have to continue to fight corruption, and especially the corrupt policies that are happening. Diversity and inclusiveness in the city and in City Hall has to happen. When I work in housing, we work with many different people, okay? And I've learned that you have to work with everybody to get something done. What we're not seeing in the Fillmore District is that inclusiveness. In fact, you've got a sitting councilman now. His office hasn't changed in 28 years. They haven't used the same, they've used the same people, not changed the diversity in that seat. And if I'm lucky enough to be elected, you'll see the diversity in that office. The office should always reflect the diversity that's in the district. So, and you know, I've already seen a piece of lit from the incumbent where he says he's the endorsed Democrat. Well, to be an endorsed Democrat, you can't be a Republican. He seeks the Republican, he sought the Republican endorsement, and by party rules, you have to forfeit your Democratic endorsement. So already he's made issues about being the endorsed Democrat, which in fact is not true. We have a district in Fillmore that's in a steady decline. You have a sitting councilman that's the poster boy for term limits. He's seen 5 presidents. He's been in office since Ronald Reagan. He's seen 3 mayors. Now, to be in office that long, we should see an improvement in the district. There's an improvement in parts of the district. A part of the district is the waterfront, which basically he had nothing to do with. That had to do with the mayor's office and the Congressman Higgins. So we need to see improvement. We need to see opportunity, equal opportunity for everybody who lives in the Fillmore District. You've got a district now from the 2010 census that's 50% non-white and 47% unemployment. Okay, that's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. I visited, I don't know if you know anyone here, probably some are familiar with the Outsource Center in Spencer Gaskin. I visited his facility a few times, and what we need to do is start to use that facility to train our residents who live in the city, get them jobs instead of 15 jobs that Savarino just gave because, you know, it was in the paper. He gave 15 jobs to the North. Big deal. Okay, here's a guy that employs probably hundreds of people during the course of the year and brags that he employed 15 people. I think we need to see more people that are working in the city. I think those opportunities need to come to the people in the city. We need to train. You've got an area on Fillmore and Broadway. You've got a building sitting there empty on the corner for I don't know how many years. We need to bring the services from downtown to the areas that need the services. One thing you're going to see from me, I'm not a part-time councilman. I'm not a part-time commissioner. 24/7. And some people here who live in Elgin can tell you that. When I get a phone call, I respond to it. No matter who calls me, what time of day or night, I respond to it. And in fact, after this incident, I've been to court 4 times helping people. One lady, they run into her in the street, evict her. She had 4 children. So I stopped that eviction. I was told by the council for the housing authority that there was a conflict of interest that I was there helping write it. So she won't get evicted.
Mr. Mascia, you have 1 minute to conclude your comment.
And I think, you know, the biggest thing is that we need to look at fresh ideas. Okay, fresh and new ideas. I got to tell you something. I'm excited. I may not sound excited right now, but I'm excited. I'm up for a challenge. I've been up for a challenge all my life. Okay? I could have walked away. I didn't walk away. I had two options. One to stay and fight, one to run like a coward. I did not run like a coward. I stayed. I accepted what I did. I apologized for it. I want to move forward. I think that what you need is somebody who's going to work for you in that district and be there for service you in the service that you need on a daily basis. And it isn't Monday through Friday. It's 7 days a week. So hopefully you'll think of me come primary time. I'm going to fight for you. So I humbly ask you to consider voting for me in the Democratic primary, which is September 10th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mascia. I want to say that the incumbent, Dave Franczyk, provided his back for me that he would come early because he had prior engagements and he had to leave before the question. I stood for him to come because no one thought he was not going to be here. So it takes us not to come to welcome back. Thank you. Okay, next up, we're going to have Mr. David Howard. Mr. Howard, Mr. Howard gets 5 minutes and he's right in. Yes. Mr. Herbert will get 6 minutes. Yes. Mr. Howard, when I came to bell the first time, you got a minute. When I came at the second, you got Oh, okay. Mr. Herbert, you got 15 minutes. When I ding the bell the first time, you got 1 minute. When I ding it the second time, I'm coming for you.
His grace and mercy brought me through. I'm living this moment because of you. And I want to thank you, Lord, and praise you too for your grace and mercy brought all of us through. Good evening. My name is Samuel A. Herbert, and you are looking at a legitimate Democratic candidate for the Fillmore District Council seat. This is my comeback. In 2007, I stood up and I ran against Dave Franczyk. In 2007, Dave Franczyk beat me, but we gained 45% of the vote, and we spent less than $1,000. And we had to wait patiently, like a child wait for Christmas. 4 years I waited for the comeback, and I took David Franczyk on again in 2011. And in 2011, I submitted 924 signatures to the Erie County Department of Board of Elections. To qualify, we needed 500. The Board of Elections told me sitting at the table that I fell short by 3 names out of 924 names submitted. I looked at both the Democratic Commissioner and the Republican Commissioner, and I told them that I'd see them in court. And I took them to court. I took them to the Supreme Court of the state of New York. and we won. The court ordered them to put the name Samuel A. Herbert back on the ballot. We lost again in 2011. Franczyk beat me by 324 votes. He beat me in Allentown. In 2011, I didn't know after the census that each council person had the option to redraw the district lines. Franczyk redrew the lines and he included all of Allentown. He also included all of the shoreline apartments behind City Hall. He also included going from Niagara Street to City Hall up to Maryland, where Tops Market is. Going over to the right is Allentown. I didn't know that. I didn't campaign in those areas. I beat Franczyk in the old lines. But Franczyk beat me. But we went from 45% of the vote to 46.3% of the vote. And again, we spent less than $1,000. So once again, I had to wait 4 years for the comeback. For 2015, I'm back. Live and in living color, I'm back. And I'm back to remove David Franczyk, who's been sitting in the same seat for the last 29 years. 29 years. The President of the United States of America, he or she, by law, can only serve 2 4-year terms, total 8 years. I've always been a strong supporter of term limits for all elected officials, from the federal government to the state, to the county, to local governments, from hamlets to villages. I believe in term limits. I believe if you can't do a 10-year job in 8 years, because I'm looking for efficiency out of our elected officials, then you ought not to be running for public office. Let me share this with you all. I'm a transplant from Harlem, New York. I came to Buffalo in 1971. I am the 8th child of 11 brothers and sisters. My father was a huge minister in Harlem, New York. The Greater Refuge Temple Church that is on the corner of Jefferson and High Street is a subsidiary of the mothership of Greater Refuge Temple on 7th Avenue between 124th and 125th Street, across the street from the famous Hotel Teresa. I was born and raised in that church. I share that with you because I want to share this. He assigned all 5 of his sons to go out to a city where he wasn't born, raised, or educated up until high school and established a Herbert name. April 1st of this year, made 43 years I've been living among you. 43 years. Anybody who's honest, they will tell you, all they ever heard of Sam Herbert was that he was running for public office. Got to the point where people of Buffalo, especially black folks, they would say, oh, that's Sam Herbert. He runs for everything. But no one knew that I was here on an assignment. And my assignment is to get elected in a city where I wasn't born or raised or educated to high school. And since I've been here, I took a civil service exam. I scored a 98 after a job at Roswell Park as a laboratory worker. Elevated myself to a laboratory research technician in the biophysics and the molecular cellular department. My specialty was the electron microscope. I retired from Roswell Park in 2003 with 30 years as a civil service employee. CSDA, my union, all the while I was working there, was offering college courses at night. If you take them, if you pass, the union would pay for them. I took advantage of that. So when I retired from Roswell Park in 2003, I enrolled full-time up at Buffalo State College in 2004. And I walked across the stage June 6, 2006, at the age of 56. And I got my degree in political science and my minor in urban planning. I made a lot of noise. I spoke on a lot of issues. I stood up when so many other blacks wouldn't stand up and confront those racist white individuals who would consciously make it their business to stop us, block us, or do us wrong as a race. And I said, and I say it again, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what sex you are. If you do another human being wrong consciously, Sam Herbert's going to speak up. Sam Herbert's going to stand up. I'm not going to allow that. People have their own opinions about it. The one thing that I love about Sam Herbert, I'm fair. I treat you right if you treat me right. I treat you right if you do right. But I have no tolerance for anyone that would speak in a derogatory term towards any of my people, black people. Now, that does not mean that I'm anti-white. It means that we live in the 21st century. This is the year 2015. We all have to show respect towards one another. It's all about diversity. It's all about helping the next person. When I was 5 years old, my childhood was taken away from me. I came down with a crippling disease called polio before the vaccination came out. They snatched children up from their families and they isolated them. In Bellevue Hospital in New York City, they put me in a ward with 40 other children who came down with polio. They said I would never walk, that I would never stand up again. But because I had a praying family, because I had great Jewish doctors, I stand before you. After total 10 operations, 5 on each feet, before the operations I walked like a duck with crutches in a wheelchair. But because I had good doctors, good nurses, good orderly individuals working there, of every nationality, I'm standing in front of you, and I can walk. And I'm one of the best dancers in this city of Buffalo. But on a serious note, I want to become the next Fillmore District Council president. Why? Because I'm a fighter. Because I listen to my people. Because I get things done. 15 years of my life I dedicated to Martin Luther King Park. When I ran for the Fillmore District seat, I told the children and the parents in the Fillmore District that Sam Herbert would work to bring water back to Martin Luther King Park. I fought. My life was threatened. Time boys threw eggs on my window. He even threatened me at Martin Luther King Park one day because they always see me by myself. I'm at the meetings, I'm making suggestions, I'm exposing them on the media. Tree is the company that did the work. The white boys threatened me. I left the park, got in my car, drove to Jefferson Avenue. Got out of my car, walked over to the brothers and the sisters that are on the avenue in a little park where they drink, socialize, and just enjoy themselves and whatever. I walked up to them and I told them what those white boys did. And they told me, really? I just took my kids there to play. And they got in their cars. And they followed me to Martin Luther King Park. And I told them, I don't want you to say anything when you get out the car. I just want you to put on the meanest face that you can put on. I told one brother, I said, as you go off with my brother, I want you to take your hand, I want you to put it by your side and just move it like that. And when we got out of the car, we walked up to him. Some boy stopped working and walked up in an apologetic manner. Shall we stop? We didn't need that. That was all that was needed. Sometimes you have to show force. Sometimes you have to make other people who don't like you just because you exposing them. Sometimes you got to show them some force.
You're right.
So I want to be the Fillmore District Council seat. Because I want to work with Native Browns. And I want to bring new infrastructure to the Fillmore District. I want new sidewalks, new drainage system, new sewage system. That's what I want. I want to work with law enforcement to identify those criminal elements in the Fillmore District and extract them. I want to work with the block clubs. I want us to put our hands together, come up with doable plans that we can implement, get done in a timely manner. I am a strong supporter of working with the parent group in regards to the education of our children and the education of every child in the Fillmore District. I also want to work with the business community. We have a lot of land with no housing in the Fillmore District. I want to work, I've been in conversation with a gentleman, one of the major developers, Mr. Rockodino, and I told him that I want to bring some new houses to the Fillmore District. And he said, Sam, the banks have redlined the Fillmore District, and they are not going to spend any money to build any new houses. I said, really? In closing, because Carl said she'd come and get me. I want to build the Fillmore District, but more than anything, the areas of that dilapidated, deprived, and deteriorating, those are top priorities. The areas that are doing well in the Fillmore District, such as Allentown, they are important. The top priority is the areas where predominantly black folks, Latinos, and poor whites live. Those are my people. Those are the individuals that signed my democratic petition. And when they come to my office, I'm going to have a computer with every one of their names, and I'm going to pop them up, and they will get top priority. Yes, I'm going to represent everybody in the Fillmore District, no matter what your sex is, no matter what your religion. The top priority is the people who help me.
Thank you, Mr. Herbert.
Thank you.
Mr. David Howard, who was a write-in. Because Mr. Howard is a write-in, he's been extended as a courtesy 5 minutes to address the audience. Mr. Howard, you heard the ground rules. The first bell is a warning, and the second bell is not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is David Howard.
and I'm a write-in candidate for the Fillmore District Common Council seat on the Independence line as well as Democratic line. This isn't very long, so I may talk fast, may scatter around a little bit, but I gotta get my point across. I was born and raised in Buffalo, been around my life, nowhere else. I've seen parts of the city change, and the only reason I can say I'm slightly familiar when I was a child with the Fillmore District or the Broadway-Fillmore area, where it originally was, because my grandmother worked with Statler's for 40-some years. So I remember going down there when she had to pick up her paycheck or a kid to visit her with my mother, who was very young. You know, there would be shoes, the Broadway Market. I remember there was a supermarket in the basement at Statler's. The neighborhood looked good. It felt good to be there. At this stage of the game, the Fillmore District is very large, very diverse. So people say to me, why are you running? What are you going to do? I can't answer that in one sentence or one word, because each area is different. But the major concern, in my opinion, is the Broadway-Fillmore area. Now, we cannot rebuild that area. There's a problem, because the chain is only as strong as the weakest link. Broadway-Fillmore is like Rice Krispies. Snap, crackle, pop, ready to go. Simple as that. The person that's been in charge of that district on the Common Council has been there for a long time. I thought it was 26 out of 30. I can recall he lost once. This is going to be a second time. Because like the Buffalo Bills, our football team, we root for constantly, no matter what. Do the same thing for our city. But when they're losing, we replace their coach. Our coach has got to go. I'm a new coach. Passionate about the district because I live there. I bought a house moved into Fillmore 3 years ago. And in 3 short years, it's gone down and down and down. And if you continue to go that way, we're on the same track, the same path. So I'm passionate about the district, one, because I'm selfish. I don't want my property value to go down. That's number one. But number two, the people that live in the district are disgusted. But they say things like, well, I guess we'll vote for Franczyk because that's our only choice. Wrong answer. You got another choice. A little younger, a little fresher, better ideas, and see into the future. I'm not stuck in talking about what happened back then. I'm talking about what's happening now. That's Europe. Canal side, waterfront, it's great. I wish I could walk through a project like that and claim it. It's not going to happen. What I do is got to be done by me in the district and include all areas of the district. Not putting up meth planks on the west side, in the neighborhood. You got meth heads walking down the street. You move your nice like Chippewa, put them on Allen, but you don't care about parking, loud noise for residents, vagrants walking around begging people, you don't worry about none of that. Just move them. It's convenient for you. I definitely would not let them dump tons of snow on one of the former crown jewels of the district and the city. And it's so disgusting, I was close enough I could smell it. And the rats are almost as big as me. Because that was a feeding ground for months. Everybody says, well, that wasn't his fault. Whose fault was it? You aren't dumping it? No, it's not coming to my house. You're not dumping it here. Give me a reason why it should take itself up. That's where it came from. That's where it's from. And not where we are. Where do we dump it? There are 3 vacant schools I can think about top of my head. Dump it in the parking lot. Don't put it in the central terminal. Broadway Market, our other crown jewel, walk through there and tell me what you think. Ask yourself this about the current council member. What have you done for me lately? Me meaning the district. And you'll get nothing. Time for a change. Time for a coach. It's
And this evening, not only do you have a choice, but you have an opportunity. So I am going to assume that you have written your questions down and have given them to the proper people. And Ms. Esther Smoller, the Chief of Staff for Legislator Grant, and we are Women Warriors. member is collecting those, and she's going to ask those questions. Please note that if your question is inappropriate, it will not be asked. So if you don't hear your question, don't question me. Know that it was inappropriate. Thank you.
I'm going to try to mix this up a little bit, okay? I'm going to start with an easy question for everyone, or what should be an easy question. And every candidate will have an opportunity to respond. I will move away, let you come right up to the podium and respond to the question. Up to 1 minute. Okay. First question. How do you bring jobs to the Fillmore District? First question written. How do you bring jobs to the Fillmore District? Who would like to begin?
Tough question, tough answer. But you can't do it sitting behind a desk. That's for sure. You can't do it asking someone else to do it. You have to get out there and do it yourself. I've been in construction for 50 years. I know the big developers, I know the Simonellis, all the brothers by name. I grew up with them. You need to invite these people into the district, along with developers from out of town, make them understand that this is the area that needs the help. When you walk downtown and you see the work that's going down on the medical corridor, that's not where we need the jobs. We need the jobs in the district. Don't forget, a lot of the people who live in the district don't have transportation. That's one of the issues we have to address also is transportation. How do we get people to the jobs? We have a building right on behind the Aldi's, empty Kmart. Perfect spot for a lab for training. We have a training lab going up on Northampton in the Mascia District. We need to bring something similar to that and have opportunities for everybody to learn. And it's a perfect venue to have a learning lab, a teaching lab for people, not only in the construction field, but don't forget, there's jobs happening down at the Solar City. Now, the funny thing I just saw a week ago was on television, and they were having this big training session for people who want to work at Solar City. So I looked in the audience. In fact, I was going to call Channel 2. They had the training at ECC South. The majority of the people who were in the audience were not people of color. Now, if you want to provide jobs for people in the center of the city, you need to bring those opportunities to the city. You need to bring the training to the city. So one of my top priorities is providing the opportunity for people to go to work. And, you know, one of the old sayings that I always say is, you want to stuff a bullet, give somebody a job. We need to get people jobs, especially our young people. They need to have opportunity. We need to bring back vocational training in schools that we took away. That's important. So one of the things definitely I want to work on is the opportunity to bring people, the developers, to an area that really needs jobs. Don't forget, I said 47% unemployment in the Fillmore District. That's embarrassing.
Next, we have Mr. Herbert.
Can you read that question again, please, just so I can get clarification?
Just for clarification, we have 1 minute to answer the question. On this particular question, since it's the same one, I'm going to extend to Herbert the same time that I extended Mr. Mascia, which will be 2.5 minutes. Mr. Herbert, the question is, how do you bring jobs to the Fillmore District?
Once I'm elected as the new Fillmore District Council person, I plan on identifying those power brokers in the city of Buffalo who control those jobs. And whatever influence the council has when it comes to budget time, if job opportunity is not presented to Samuel Herbert, representing the Fillmore District, then I'm going to use the media. I'm not going to vote for the budgetary items. I'm going to come to the community, especially Mr. Charlie Fisher, if he's still here. And I'm going to ask him to join with me. As Marcus Garvey once said, in order for black people to get anything from the government, black people must organize, they must target the area, and they must begin the process of agitating. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. Thank you.
My plan for jobs is twofold. First thing to do is to afford the opportunity to everyday Joe, mom and pop, like they used to have back in the day, give them the same incentives that you give the Staverinos and the Croce and the Simonelli. Let them have the same opportunities, same tax breaks as everybody, all the big shots, I should say. Give it to them. Maybe they'll let them do something. Instead of tearing the building down, give it to somebody that might rehab it and open a new business. And the big shot, with all the money, you want to do something here? Well, guess what? You got to do something in Fillmore first.
Okay. I was supposed to let you know in the beginning that we are asking you to write your name. Would you like to let us know who? Thank you. The next question is to Mr. Joe Mascia. All apologies aside, how can you accept racist Carl Palladino's endorsement? How can you accept his filthy money? If you're really sorry, then reject the money. If you're really sorry, then reject Palladino and his tainted money. The author of the question still in the room? Okay. Yes. Oh, Mr. Fisher. You understand the question?
Sure. I mean, it's a good question. Thanks for asking. First of all, just so you know, I have known Carl Palladino for many years. This campaign, he did not give me any funding as of yet. I haven't asked for it, and as far as giving money back, those two campaigns are well over with, and as far as renouncing someone, I don't know if that's in my nature to renounce anyone who's a friend. I won't deny my friendship to anyone. There's people in here that are friends. If a person's a friend, I believe in loyalty, and I don't have the same politics as Carl Palladino. I don't have the same, understanding of economics maybe the way he does. So I'm not a Carl Palladino puppet. Maybe some people would like to think so, but I'm not. I'm Joe Mascia. I've been in politics now for 10 years. I don't go to Carl Palladino for advice. Thank you.
Okay, this question is designated to all of our candidates this evening. How will you address the blight in the Fillmore District? What are your proposals for increasing investment in the Fillmore District, creating jobs? We somewhat had that question already. And how did you create your platform? That was 3 questions in one. May I ask of the author of that? Okay, Ms. Katrina. I'll read it again. How will you address the blight in the Fillmore District? What is your proposal for increasing investment in
the Fillmore District, such as creating jobs? And how did you create your platform? Mr. Howard, would you like to go first?
All right, touch off her. It's a lot. Let me say this. When I create my platform is because I live there. And I see it every day. I don't like it. So if I don't like it, I'm sure other residents of the district don't like it either. That's easy. As for jobs, you can't cover the last question. I'd like to cover what I pretty much have been told by some of the residents of the Broadway, Fillmore area especially, which I consider the heart of the district. When you live somewhere and call it things like Beirut, you have a problem. Or is it the leader has a problem? You want to cut down on some of these houses and things, or they're tearing down houses by record numbers. I leave my house in the morning, by the time I get home at night, there's something else on. So what you have to do is you have to make people step up to the plate and be responsible for what they own. And so he owns it, hold accountable for what it looks like and what's been done to it. They live out of town, there's a thing called a warrant. Bring them back. Once you build pride in the neighborhood and clean the neighborhood up, people feel better about it, and people will invest in that same neighborhood. It looks better and feels better. I created my platform after 43 years of living here in the city of Buffalo. Running for office, lockdown president, conservative citizen. But I created my platform secretly because I don't trust anyone, especially the ones that smile in your face. The second question was what?
The second question?
Oh, right.
Yes, it is. What is your proposal for increasing investment in the Fillmore District, such as creating jobs?
So we answered that one earlier. Well, my proposal for a comprehensive development of the Fillmore District. First, I'm going to break the Fillmore District down into 4 sections: Allentown, Shoreline, Broadway, Fillmore, Clinton, William, Bailey area. The Broadway area going up to Bailey, from Genesee to Sycamore to Walden to Broadway. I'm going to call public meetings, forums, and I'm going to sit down with the residents. I want to engage the residents, and I want to listen to what they say they need. I want to echo the concerns of those who live in the Fillmore District. The time is short, but
Campaign headquarters is 1589 Broadway, near Bailey. Again, in the district, so I see it every day.
I'm not going to say in closing, I'm going to say until the next time. Forgive him if you will. Just don't vote for him. Please. David Franczyk did not show in tonight's show big time disrespect.
Yes, sir.
David Franczyk has the Democratic line, the Republican line, the conservative line, and the independent line. Sam Herbert only has the Democratic line. Sounds like a clear case of David and Goliath. I need 1,500 registered Democrats to come out in the Fillmore District and to vote for me on September 10th in the September Democratic primary. 1,500. All I have is the Democratic line. If I don't win the Democratic line, then Samuel A. Herbert is out of the race. We can't let that happen.
So I'm asking everyone in this room, designate, if y'all would allow me, to echo the name Samuel A. Herbert. We have to vote for him, come out in numbers for that September 10th primary. Or else the people of the Fillmore District loses a serious choice, a strong voice, not a punk, will not be intimidated, will get things done in a timely manner. This letter right here I wrote to Mayor Brown and the Commissioner of Public Works, June of 2013, I wanted 5 streets paved. Anyone ever drove from Best Street on Herman all the way over to Broadway, the raggedy streets and everything? Well, drive by there tonight. They started paving from Best Street to Genesee and going all the way over to Broadway. Guilford Street, paved, new sidewalks. Waltz Street, on the 28th of this month, they getting new sidewalks, getting their street paved, getting new sewer system put in.
Thank you, Mr. Herbert.
That's it.
I'm
not going to take an issue, but between Martin Luther King Park and getting these streets done, I get things done. Please, drive across Herman Street tonight. God bless you, and please, tell them Samuel A. Herbert is running for the Fillmore District seat, and we got to remove David Franczyk. David Franczyk is the target.
Get the book.
Everybody else is distracted.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it seems like I'm the only one here with governmental experience over the last 9 years, working on budgets, working on audits to try to see the housing authority that's going down the tubes. And that's no secret. We've had mismanagement in the housing authority. I've been trying to fight it for the last 9 years. Naturally, with that, there's been a target on my back, and that target seems to be getting bigger and bigger. But you know what? I'm here. I'm going to stay. I'm going to fight. And what you need to know is that since they're doing Niagara Street, which is the gateway to the city from Canada, we have a gateway to the city from Depew and Lancaster and Chippewa. That's Genesee Street. That's Broadway. They're an embarrassment. They're an embarrassment to the city of Buffalo when people drive down that street. So we need to improve those streets specifically. And we need to improve the infrastructure of the whole area. We need to bring jobs. My idea about rehabbing vacant houses will work. We need to, like this lady right here, this young lady said, apply for the block grants. I plan on having somebody in my office that works specifically on block grants and to bring money into that district. And again, you have a diversified district. One of the things I'm going to do is put an end to gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is the reason why we have the problems we have today with career politicians. They want to make sure, and in fact, Councilman Franczyk has been through 3 redistrictings. So he made sure that the last redistricting, he got what he needed. We're going to put an end to that. We disenfranchise not only the Hispanic community, we disenfranchise the African American community, and we need to bring the votes back to where people need to have them. We need to bring the votes back to Fillmore Broadway, Fillmore District. So hopefully you'll think about me in September, the September primary. Joe Mascia, I'm a resident, lifelong resident of the city of Buffalo, not transplanted. I've been here 70 years. So hopefully you'll think about me come September 10th and vote for me in December primary. Thank you.
At this time, if you would please just give all of the candidates a round of applause. Being respectful to you this evening, I think that deserves a round of applause, and that's why I asked for one. At this time, we are going to...
Can I say just one more thing real quick, please?
No.
Yeah, but I want to give thanks to Betty Jean Grant and the Women Warriors for hosting this affair. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we are going to bring forward for closing remarks the real independent Democrat in this county. The inimitable, unparalleled, unbarred, and unbarred, the Honorable Betty Jean Grant.
I know that there's going to be vote in Fillmore, the council members, a vote in Mascia, and Merriweather in Delaware. I know that the lines are 58687. Who's 58? We check your numbers. We on the ballot when you check.
I'm 53A.
Okay, so you're 58. Okay. What are you, Mr. Mascia? You check. Okay. Well, 586878, and Mr. Howard will be a write-in.
Correct.
Okay, we'll be a right name in. Good luck, gentlemen. Thank you. Okay. One of you, and including Mr. Franczyk, will be the nominee for the Democratic General Election in November. I wish you luck, all of you, and thank you for coming. God bless you.
Everyone, tomorrow night at the Burkesville Petty Arts Center on Elmwood, the African American Western New York Coalition is hosting a forum for the candidates who are running for the Fillmore. We come on at 7 p.m. Candidates that are running for the Mascia come on at 8 p.m. You have another chance to hear us. And I bet you Dave Franczyk be at the one tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.